When people think about the cost of drinking, they usually think about the obvious things: health, money, maybe relationships. But there's another cost that's much harder to notice, and that's the emotional bandwidth alcohol quietly takes from your life. Not in a dramatic way, just slowly, over time, until one day you realize that something about how you feel and how you respond to life has quietly changed. Emotional bandwidth is simply the space you have inside your mind to deal with life. It's your capacity to think clearly, to respond to things thoughtfully, to stay patient with people, to be present. When your emotional bandwidth is strong, life feels manageable. You have room to think, room to feel, room to respond. But when your bandwidth is reduced, everything starts to feel slightly heavier. Small problems feel bigger. Patience runs shorter. Your mind feels a little bit more crowded. Alcohol affects emotional bandwidth in a very particular way, because while it may feel like it's helping you relax in the moment, it often reduces your capacity the next day. Not necessarily in a way that feels extreme. You might still go to work, still function, still do everything you normally do, but your mind feels slower, your patience slightly shorter, your clarity slightly reduced. And when that happens repeatedly over time, it becomes your new normal. This is why many people who drink regularly don't immediately recognize what's happening, because the effect isn't dramatic, it's gradual. Maybe you feel a little more tired in the morning, a little less motivated, a little less patient. You might feel yourself procrastinating more, or feeling mentally drained more often. Because these changes happen slowly, they're easy to attribute to stress, work, or life in general, and so the pattern continues. The reason emotional bandwidth matters is because it shapes how you experience your life. When your mental and emotional capacity is strong, you can handle challenges with perspective. You can respond thoughtfully instead of reactively. You feel more present with people. But when your bandwidth is constantly reduced, life can begin to feel like something you're simply just getting through, instead of something you're fully participating in. And over time, that difference becomes significant. This quiet shift in mental clarity and emotional capacity is something many people only realize or recognize once they step back and look at their drinking more closely. It's something I explore in more detail in my book, When Drinking Feels Like Coping, and also in the 30-day reset plan, which has designed people to help step out of the automatic pattern of drinking and rebuild a more intentional relationship with their evenings. Both are linked below if you'd like to explore that further. But the key thing is simply noticing what alcohol might be quietly taking from your life. One of the things people often say after stepping away from alcohol for a while is this: I didn't realize how much clearer my mind could feel. Not because they'd been drinking excessively, but because they'd been living with a slightly reduced emotional bandwidth for so long that it felt normal. Once that mental space returns, things feel different. Evenings feel calmer, mornings feel clearer, and small challenges don't feel quite as overwhelming as they used to. And this is where the real question appears. Is the short-term relief alcohol provides in the evening worth the quiet reduction in clarity the next day? That's not a question anyone else can answer for you, but it's a question many people eventually start asking themselves. Because once you notice the trade off, it becomes much harder to ignore. If you've been feeling like your mental energy or emotional capacity has been slightly lower than it used to be, it might be worth gently exploring what role alcohol is playing in that. Not with judgment, just curiosity. If you've been wondering what life might feel like without alcohol for a while, I created something called the Quiet Clarity 30-Day Reset. It's simply a calm way to step back from alcohol for a month and see how it affects your energy, thinking, and emotional bandwidth. If you'd like to try that for yourself, I've linked it down below. And if this video resonated with you, you might find other videos in my series helpful too. Sometimes alcohol doesn't take anything obvious from your life. It simply takes a little bit of the mental space you need to experience that life fully.